Okay, welcome to our evening session, November the 5th, 2025. My name is Darryl Dunnington, and I will be leading you through this session. So let's go ahead and get started. Take a look at our slides to determine what we've done, what we'll do today, and what it looks like in the future for us. In our last session, we spent some time talking about the certification, the BAE certification, the practice certification that you guys did. And I'll talk about the scores, show you the scores. But if you have any concerns about that particular exam, then I want you to go back, listen to the podcast, listen to, take a look at some of the documentation and the mind map, and that would be very, very helpful for you. But I think most of you got it. Everyone was on point going forward. In that last session, you saw that I did cover on Monday morning the 30% for the case management. That was part of the blueprint, covered that. Then you took a project review concepts exam, little small exam for 20 questions. And then that evening, you came back and you took the BAE practice exam. Again, that exam mimics closely what you'll take in Pega. So if you did well on that, if you took that, you did well, you focused on it, that is a strong indicator of how you would do. And of course, also, you were to take the mission test and submit that. So I saw that most of you did that. In most cases, I saw about 8 or 9 people, so we're almost there. So hopefully you were able to go through, take the mission test, make that happen. You were to upload the BAE exam into the BAE folder, the exam folder. And again, let's just take a look at this so that you will understand when you sit for the Pega certification, the percentages. And we'll talk about some of the strength and weaknesses of the class when you took the test. Pega Express, 10%, 5 questions. Case management, 30%, 15 questions. So that's the bulk. Again, that's more of the easier part of this. It's more explicit than some of the other. Data and integration, 15%, so about 8 questions. Security, only 3 questions, 5%, but you'll see when we take a look at that, you guys are weak if you missed some of the questions that was in the security area. So you'll need to go back, take a look at security and improve on that. Listen to the audio, the podcast that we did on just that security section. That's not a long audio. User experience, 10%, 5. So most of you did quite well on that. Application development, 25%, 12 questions. That was one of the lower areas that talks about Pega Express delivery, some of the tools, some of the methodologies, center out. So those are soft topics. They're not core hard topics that you can put your hands on, like stages, steps, processes. So you need to go back and review that. Make sure you understand that methodology. I need you guys to score higher on that particular area. And then you have insights, reports. Again, that's only 5%, so it's probably only 2 questions. And our AI assistant showed where you guys scored a little bit lower on that, but if you get one right, one wrong, it's only 50%. So go back and take a look at the insight. So here are some of the successes. So let's take a look at this particular area of those areas where you were successful, those areas where there was a weakness. So number 1, case management. That's at the top of the list. As I mentioned before, I did that 30% right before you took the test that morning, I believe. And as you can see, that's a strong proficiency across the entire class. 80%, over 80% of you. Several of you scored 100% in that particular area. So you should do well on the certification if you did well on the BAE exam. User experience. Now, this is unusual because most of the time people score either in the mid-range or lower, but this particular class of the 16 that took the test, you had high mastery. So some of you scored 100% on that. So that's good. That's a clear understanding that you understand the user interface that's there, the portal, the views, the templates, everything that's associated with the UI UX experience in Pega. Number 3, integration and data. Again, that's one of the top areas where you guys scored. Some of you scored 100% there. So that means that the majority of you have a solid grasp and a handle on data integrity. Pega Express fundamentals. Now, it says while a weakness for the lowest performers, but for the class overall. Right. So basic tools, methodology, all of those things are well understood. As I had mentioned earlier throughout the whole process, our learning strategy is to make sure that you go to Pega Academy. From Pega Academy, you get your missions, you get your challenges, you get your quiz questions. Then I lecture over that. And from that, you're going to get that podcast where you can review it. You're going to get a study guide from that. And all of that is targeted learning. So you can see case management, user experience, data integration, Pega Express fundamentals. So overall, there's a solid and consistent understanding that you understand the roles, the processes, the architecture. So that's absolutely great. Now, if you look over to the right, you'll see that you can find your scores. I hit the name, you can find your scores, and then the Pega Express exam, I weighed at 40%. The certificate, the BAE certification, it was weighed at 60%. So those weights came up with an average for you, and that allows you to see where you fall. Okay, that allows you to see where you fall. Now, I do want to encourage you. Again, if you've taken this test, it's okay to take it again. I'll go back and grade it for you. All you have to do is download the exam, and I want you to take it again. I do want to warn you with something. So I had 2 students that scored 100 on this test. The AI analysis says that less than 1 or 2% of the people can score 100 on that test. So if you did it all on your own, congratulations. That's a vast improvement. Congratulations on that. I can tell you that in my 14 years at Pega, no one ever scored 100% on the test at all. So make sure that if you did get help, try to take the test on your own. Try to take the test again. There's nothing wrong with practice, practice, practice. That's what that test is for. And I need you guys, even if you've taken it one time, take it again. Practice again. Make sure that you have clarity on it. This class is about professional knowledge. They asked me, your administration asked me to come in and teach a professional class in an academic setting. So this is not about making a grade. It's not about getting an academic grade. It's about making sure that you are prepped, that you are ready, and that you can pass those 2 professional certifications, and that you then can go in and interview successfully for the job. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the weaknesses. So overall, what was some of the areas that we need to improve upon? Number one is security. Again, it's only 5%. It's only 5%, but there is a lack of critical skills and understanding the fundamental knowledge of that. And of course, if you miss one, then it puts you at 60%. So that puts you in a lower range. So let's go look at the security. Security talks about the relationship between a persona, operators, and access group. So you guys should know that. You should know that a persona is for a grouping of like activities for a given role. It may be a service manager, it may be a group of developers, may be administrators, it may be people who work on claims, people in accounting, right? That's how we group the personas. And then out of the personas, we can then generate individual and personalized operator IDs. Operator IDs we have so that we can authenticate, make sure I can get into the system. And then authorization is through my access group so that it says what I can do. Can I read? Can I write? Can I execute? Can I delete objects? Things of that nature. So make sure that you go back and restudy that. Listen to that. You want to get 100% on that, or you want to get at least 2 out of 3 instead of 1 out of 3. So that's where some of the group failure was. So let's go back. And the second one is second highest weakness area, 17% was in application development. Again, it's not those skills you can quantify. Let's go back and take a look at it and see what that covers. Application development, that's a big section. That's the second largest section that you'll be covered, that you'll be taking a test on. So when you look at that section, make sure that you understand things about the role and skills of a business architect, how that architect will interface with the stakeholders, the product owners, the SMEs, Scrum Master. Make sure that you understand that. Articulate the benefits of sent out. Remember, it's all about business logic. It's all about what is it that the customer wants. That's the sent out approach that we have. The value of developing in App Studio. Remember, it's agile. It's the agility that makes it really important. Rules, rule sets, and classes. We covered that. That will be a big portion of the test. When we talk about a rule, what is a rule? A rule is a logical instruction. That's what gets executed, gets performed within the step of our case life cycle. Rule set, remember that's for deployment. That's a container for deployment that stores rules and classes. And then classes, we say it is for the grouping of rule instances. Articulate the value of generative AI. Well, we've talked about the 13 different features, generative AI, and how those are important in helping you, for instance, with the blueprint. I can easily create a case life cycle using the blueprint, its generative features to help me then build the case life cycle to start with. Continuous integration, continuous development, that pipeline, they are integrated with each other. Make sure you know how to describe those and how those are associated with the different Pega Express delivery phases. Different communication tools for collaboration, a pulse, for instance, and how we can be able to identify messages by putting a pound sign to make that happen. We can even add a widget. Application management development, user stories. So guys, go back. No one has completed the user stories except for one. That's an important aspect of the learning. So make sure you go back and you do that. Feedback and bugs. And then the case backlog and estimator tool. So go back and read up on those to make sure that you understand the scoping of that particular tool. All right, so number 3, Pega Express. So we're at 40%, so that's significant. That's that top 10%. Go back, take a look at that, make sure that you understand the Pega Express. So let's go back here. That top 10%, articulate benefits of best practice of PED. Describe the value in the framework. All of that information is contained in the study guide for you. That study guide gives you what? Gives you definition, description, shows you how to navigate to that particular artifact or an image of that artifact within a table in most cases. And then it gives you a use case. Describe the process and benefits of DCO, right? DCO is that process of taking the words and information, translating those into artifacts, case type, stage, step, process, part of the case life cycle. Describe the 4 phases of Pega Express delivery. So make sure that you understand those 4 phases. Let's see, reports. So reporting, those are the insights. So make sure you go back, study that. That's at the bottom here, the insights. Describe the benefits of insights, the visualization, right? I can quickly tableize that, make that available to the community. How do I create the visualizations with the insights? Shows you how to go in and do the configuration and the columns, filter, sorting. What type of sorts that can you do? What type of filtering can you do? Make sure that you understand that. So some confusion around some of the concepts. All right. Make sure that you understand the difference between core concepts that you see in case lifecycle, concepts associated with best practices, methodologies. Sometimes those can get confusing. And then just make sure that you reread all of your questions. Make sure that you don't omit an answer that's right, because you have to have precise information, or make sure that you don't add questions that look close but are really not what you are looking for. All right, so again, I'm proud of the work that you guys have done. Make sure that if you scored high, go back and take the test again. All right, go back and take the test again. Make sure that you're clear on your understanding. If you score low, go back and take the test again. I'll go back and regrade it again. It's not about an academic grade. At the end, your success will be determined if you pass both certifications, and we set you up for job opportunities. That's where your success is coming from, and that's what this class is all about. Some of you have not completed your essays. Again, some of this is about your professional work ethic. If I'm working with your administration to align jobs, then questions will come. Well, did the student finish all the work? Do they have the necessary skills? Because the work that we've laid out, we're going to share that with your potential employers and saying, this is what they were asked to do. And here's a chart of who did the essays, who did the answers, who did the questions, the test scores. We typically don't show them the test scores. We only show them that you passed the certification. The test scores are internal. That's more like the SLA, service level agreement. It's the goal. It's the goal for us to make sure that you learn the material, but it's important that you pass the certification. So typically, we won't even discuss our internal scores that you have on your pre-test. It's all about the certification. But when they ask about your work, did they follow through? Did they complete their work? Now we have a chart to say, Well, yes, some did, some didn't. And that may put a question mark if they're looking to hire you to say, well, we may give them work to do, but if we don't um, look over their shoulder, they may not get the work done. So again, this is a professional class in an academic setting. The expectation is you've been given tasks and activities, and it's expected that you carry it out. Okay, it's not about a grade. It's about the expectation and the responsibility and your integrity to complete the task that employers would ask you to do. Now, I saw that the majority of you did complete your mission challenges and you did all of the mission quizzes. So it enabled you to get to the test. Make sure that not only that you do the test, it may or may not have required you to do the mission exercise, but make sure you do the mission exercise. You have to do the mission exercise. You have to do the mission test to get the digital badge. Okay, so if you have not done the mission test nor the mission exercise, then make sure you do that so you get the digital badge. I took a look at the folder and I see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, 14 out of the 16 that took BAE, you guys are on point. So give yourself a round of applause. All right. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you for following instructions. Thank you for getting it done on time. And that leads us right up into our next activity. Okay. Yeah. So let's go ahead and give each other a high five. Right. So you guys completed that. You got it done. So congratulations on it. And you uploaded it to the right place. Now, if you didn't pass it the first time, again, all of this is prelim for the certification. Go back and take it again. Some of you may have taken it once or twice. Again, this is not about the grade. No one's going to see the grade. I ask you to send the grade so that I make sure that you've completed the requirements for the activity so that if there's a question from a potential employer, I can say, yes, they did complete the mission test, they completed the pre-test, they completed the personal interview for Pega Academy, for Pega Express, they completed all of those. And those are core activities that are necessary to help you build the skill. And then, of course, all of the essays that we have required you to do. Now, that moves us into the BAE pre-test. So right now, you guys are going to set for the BAE pre-test. You have an hour and a half to do that, and you'll follow the same process. Here's the link. So it's not a document. I did not create this test. This test was created by Pega. I don't have access to it other than through the link like you. So you have 50 questions. It's going to mimic the certification test. It's probably not as grueling as the test you just took. So I'm expecting you to score about the same based upon what you scored from the BAE test. And this is basically version 23. Our BAE test was over version 24. So it's not much difference. But in order for you to qualify for the free exam voucher, which is worth 175 US dollars, you have to pass this test. Okay? So everything leading up to this is to help you pass this particular test. Now, the challenge is this test is in English. I couldn't get it translated to Spanish. This test is in English, and it gives you 90 minutes to complete it. So put forth your best effort. Go to this link. If you don't know where this link is, you can go to the schedule. In the schedule, you'll see that on Wednesday, 11/5, here's the link. You can copy and paste that link. I will copy it and I'll even put it in the chat in case you want to copy it out of the chat. Let me do that. Okay. All right. So I have put it in the chat. You guys have an hour and a half to get done. When you are finished, listen to me. When you are finished, I need you to upload it into the 1105. Where is it? Right here. The Pega BAE pre-exam. Put your first name, last name, attach it, and upload it. And then don't leave, because then I'll come back in about 5 minutes. I'll tell you at the end of the class what the next steps will be for Thursday. All right, go ahead and get started. I'll put the, well, I don't need to put a timer on. It will automatically time you itself, but I'll put one on just for the class. And I'll go ahead and start it. And I'll check back in on you guys at at the end of the class. Okay, let's get started back up. I'm quite sure that most of you have finished. If not, continue on and finish up the test. You're probably sitting in and only have a few more minutes to go. So what I'm going to do is pause for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna pause for about 5 minutes, give people another 5 minutes to finish up the exam. I see that only 8 exams have been uploaded at this point. So there's a few more of you. There's 6 more that need to complete it. So I'll give them 5 more minutes, and then I'll come back and I'll give you instructions for what we will do for the next session. Okay. That will be in the morning. Okay. Carol, you have a question? Put it in the chat, please, and I will reply. Okay, so you couldn't take the exam. Carol, you can go back and take the other exams. Okay. So do that at your own leisure. You can go back and take the the BAE exam. Yeah, I don't think that I saw you take the BAE exam, nor did you take the other exam. So go back and take those, because that would be helpful for you. I looked at your, so you actually did well on this Pega pre-test, but just so you can practice, go back and take those 2 exams. So let me reply back to you. Okay. Okay. Can, yes, the Monday exams. So you can, okay. Yeah, and that's for everyone else. If you didn't take an exam, go back and take it. Remember, all of this is for your prep. All of this is for your prep to get you to the place that you can pass the certification. So the BAE practice exam that we took and the other project interview that had to do with Pega Express delivery, go back and take those 2 exams or take the 1 exam that you didn't take so that you can make sure you understand all of the different topics that will be covered. Okay. Did that answer your question, Carol? Are you good? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, so in this particular test, the minimum is 70. So you have to score 70 in order to receive a voucher and to sit for the certification test. If you did not make a 70, I would encourage you to take it again in the morning. It's a little late for you to take it tonight. Take it again in the morning. I have to send a list to your administration so that Pega can give us the vouchers so we can sit for the exam on Monday. So don't delay. Don't delay. I'll give you until end of tonight. You can take it again if you like, or in the morning, early in the morning, before our 10 a.m. meeting. I need you to take it. If you did not make a 70, if you did not make a 70. Does anyone else have any questions while we're waiting? Other people trying to finish up. Let me see how many people have uploaded there. Um, 13. All right, so I think we're waiting on one more person. We'll give that one more person a few more minutes, and then we will complete this evening. So I will say this again. If you did not make a 70, you are able to take the Pega exam pretest again. It is important that you make a 70 or above in order to receive a voucher and to sit for the certification. So this is what all of your studying and all of your activities is leading up to this. You want to pass this test so that you can get a voucher, sit for the exam, and pass the exam. And that's why I encourage all of you, if you missed any of the challenges, go back and do those. You miss any of the Essays, go back and do those also. You want to be well prepared, well-rounded on all the topics. If you took the test with assistance, because I look at some of the scores, and I promise you our BAE test was harder than this test. And the scores reflect that. You scored high on the BAE test, scored low here. That meant either you got some help or something else. All right, I think that's everyone. Let me count it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think that's everyone in the class, so I don't want to keep you over for too long. So let's go ahead and let me back up here. This is where we are. All right, so for in the morning, we will set up your account so that you can take the exam on Monday. So we need to get it set up tomorrow. Do not miss class tomorrow. There's a video and there's a PDF that we will follow, but do not do it tonight because there are some particular things I need to tell you. I need to tell you how to associate your email in Pega Academy with your Pearson VUE account so that when you take a test, it goes to your Pega Academy. So do not create your account tonight. Does everyone understand? Give me a thumbs up if you understand. Do not create your account tonight. We will create it tomorrow together. Thumbs up? Make sense? Okay. All right. All right, wonderful. So that's all I have. That's all I have for you. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for the commitment. I told you this week would be a week of test. This was the ultimate test to get us over to the final stage of taking the certification and acquiring a voucher. So again, if you did not make a 70, you can take it again tonight and or tomorrow. But before class, I need you to have taken it a second time to see if you can score a 70 or above. If you have not taken any of the other tests after you take this test, or you may want to go back and take those tests and then come and take this test again, and that will help to improve your test score. So I will see you in the morning at 10 a.m. Have a great day. Have a great night. Bye-bye.